After 3 whole years, the glorious sounds of the Champions League anthem return back to Chelsea Football Club, and our return back to the CL is a full throttle affair as tomorrow evening we take on Bayern Munich. Now, the Allianz Arena has been a great stadium if you're a Chelsea fan, and the stadium has become part of our story. Now, I was lucky enough to go to Chelsea's 3-2 defeat against them back in 2005 when we progressed into the latter rounds of the knockout stages, and that was the infamous game where Jose Mourinho was involved in sneaking into dressing rooms in peculiar fashion. I was also lucky enough to attend one of the most famous games in Chelsea history when Didier Drogba's late header gave us hope and subsequent penalty bagged us our first Champions League. Our third encounter against them tomorrow doesn't bring anything substantial, but can the spirit of nostalgia give energy to a Chelsea statement win tomorrow night? That's what we're hoping to see. Chelsea and Bayern Munich were locked into tense transfer affairs over the move of Nicolas Jackson. And you can imagine that Bayern are going to turn to Nicolas Jackson to learn about all the hidden tweaks and mechanics that make Maresca's system work. Can Bayern Munich find unique ways to counter us? And is Nico Jackson going to be working as an enemy in disguise? Well, you'd imagine that Nico will have a lot of enthusiasm to take us on tomorrow, as he's likely to play behind Harry Kane. Nico himself said that if he has the chance to score against us, damn right, he's going to celebrate. Us, on the other hand, we go into this game with a new sense of confidence. The manager, the players, they're going to feel like they are capable of going up against Europe's best. And after proving the entire world wrong by annihilating Paris Saint-Germain 3-0 as we lifted that Club World Cup, that win further cemented, emboldened, and gave confidence to the squad, the manager, and the entire club around this new Chelsea project. In over 24 hours' time, the wait for Champions League football is over. Chelsea take on Bayern Munich away from home at the Allianz Arena. The anticipation is high, the expectations are even higher, and the excitement is simmering because right now Chelsea are back where they belong, and it's time to make Europe remember our absence. So my friends, if you guys are pumped for the return to the CL, if you think we will bag our first win against Bayern, hit that like button, my friends. Show us some love. I'm a superstitious guy, so good energy and vibes only. Leave your predictions below and let's tackle what to expect in this game against Bayern. So the main question is, how exactly do we best prepare for the game tomorrow night? Do we draw direct comparisons from our dominating game against Paris Saint-Germain? I'm not afraid of us going band for band, possession for possession against Bayern Munich, but could it better suit us to strategically give Bayern Munich possession in positions in which we feel they could be pretty ineffectual in? And that could make sense because even though Bayern play very well as a team, there are still weaknesses in their first team, and they're seen most notably in the fullback areas. Lima, a midfield player, has been playing out of position, even though he's been doing a very admirable job playing as a right back. Stanisic is also introduced as the main left back now that Davis is injured. Could Bayern be forced to invert their fullbacks to try and counter us in the middle of the field? Now, originally Bayern Munich under Guardiola were the first club to make using inverted style fullbacks sexy when they had players like Alaba and Lahm playing for them. Under Kompany, they tend to play wider roles and wider positions to help combine alongside their wingers. So is there a possibility that we take inspiration from defeating Paris Saint-Germain by using the same setup against the Bayern Munich, target some of their weaknesses in the wider fullback role and look to hit them on the break and exploit spaces with direct passes over the top? That could be the plan, but Bayern don't necessarily have the most dynamic fullbacks. So could they be controlled in other areas? With that possibility being that we actually take inspiration from Paris Saint-Germain defeating Bayern Munich in the Club World Cup, which was a 2-0 win in PSG's favour, as they look to overload certain sides of the field to free up 1v1 spaces for their winger down the opposite flank. By playing this way, they created many dangerous chances against Bayern Munich. They relied upon using offensive wingers they entrusted who could take the game against their opponents. But I guess if you're Chelsea, the only issue you think about is, at the moment, do we have that dominant left winger that we can entrust immediately from day one who can ride that challenge and take that responsibility against them tomorrow. That's something to think about. But on paper, you might be licking your lips at the possibilities of our wingers and Estevals and Netos and Garnachos and Gittins going 1v1 against your Bayern fullbacks. And I'm sure that's something that might give Kompany some headaches. It's pretty obvious that hurting Bayern in the wide positions, hurting their fullbacks, is going to give us a big advantage at potentially securing the results and winning that tactical battle in our favour. Now there's a final player I think we need to have a game plan for. Some may look towards Harry Kane. He bagged 41 goals and 14 assists last season, one of the best strikers playing the game right now. Some might look towards Nico Jackson, who's expected to play the second striker role behind Kane. He'll be relishing the opportunity of playing against us. Obviously, you need to look towards new wide men in Luis Diaz, a very tricky opponent for us over the years, and Michael Olise, one of the best attacking players doing it in the world right now. But for myself, the main player that we need to control to get a result in this game is Joshua Kimmich. For me, Kimmich, you could argue, is one of the best, if not the best, passing midfielder in the world, especially over short, medium, and long distances. And it's this long passing which makes him the metronome, which connects this entire Bayern Munich team. Now against RB Leipzig, he completed a whopping 14 out of 16 long balls. Most times goalkeepers aren't even playing that long anymore. In their 5-0 drubbing of Hamburg, he completed 6 out of 7. And he is tasked with playing this type of ball because he must connect to release the attackers in behind and out wide to hurt teams. He plays the quarterback role for Bayern. He receives from their defense, he kickstarts the attacks. He starts what's possible for Bayern Munich. And I think having someone who can jump on him to minimize his impact, to force him deeper, I think it helps us to be more proactive in facing Bayern in this manner by nullifying the threat before it even starts with Kimmich. Now, I'm sure Kompany might be thinking that Maresca has a plan for Kimmich, and maybe you might see Kimmich dropping to make a bit of a back three, so he has a bit more time and space in the ball to play over the top. That'll be an intriguing tactical battle to watch out for, but for myself, controlling Kimmich and controlling their fullbacks can give Chelsea their first big win of a new Champions League season. And once you control them, I think things become possible for us. So right now, I want to discuss the lineup I see us using against Bayern tomorrow. Now, in terms of updates to the Champions League squad list, we learned today that Asugo has been removed because he'll be injured until 2026. But in his place, Boanorte is in the squad right now, and to be fair with you, I was a bit surprised that he was omitted to begin with because we lack that type of connected presence between midfield and attack. So yeah, I think this has definitely been the kid's year so far. He's just making progression after a short amount of time. So let's see if he takes this opportunity now with both hands. Outside of that, it's the same old story surrounding players still out injured, but it's expected that Estevao will return back after suffering illness, so at least that's something positive for us to look forward to. But anyway, in terms of the lineup, you are seeing it on screen right now. Up front, Joao Pedro. On the left-hand side, Neto and Palmer. In midfield, a midfield three of Enzo, Moises and Reece James, and a defense of Cucurella, Tosin, Chalobah, Gusto, and Robert Sanchez. Now I see it like this. This will be how we start the game, and then there'll be a lineup for the second half. For the first half lineup, my thinking is that if Lavia was fit and reliable, I'd see us using 2 wingers and an attacking mid in this game, but he's not there, so Reece James is the muscle we need in midfield, because with Reece James and Caicedo holds, and Reece James is allowed the license to jump, and he's going to have to do that to put pressure on Joshua Kimmich. Whenever he's about to receive, we need to make it difficult. We need to make it hard for him. We have to make him receive on the back foot. He has to feel some contact. He has to get roughed up a little bit. I think Reece James and Caicedo provide the perfect defensive platform that we need for the tactics and the strategy to come to life against a team like Bayern. Solid, reliable, strong in the tackle, dominate their zones, dominate their positions, whilst also providing great cover defensively when it comes to tracking back runners. So I see this being the starting lineup. The defense, I've gone for Cucurella. Obviously, I didn't think he had the best game against Brentford, but he's been rested for this game. and Malo Gusto. I think Malo Gusto will be key because I see him recreating a similar role to what he did against Paris Saint-Germain, providing the width, timing his third man runs, helping us overload the flanks when Palmer's drifting inside. That is cue for Malo Gusto to attack the spaces, drag and shift Bayern's defense, because if Jonathan Tah plays in defense alongside Upamecano, even though I have a feeling that you might see Kim Min-jae and Upam together, if Tah's there, who has been playing all the time and has that leadership, that does mean that Bayern's defensive line becomes a little bit more sus, because I still see him having better box qualities defensively, and maybe he needs a little bit more time adapting to a new defensive style compared to his time at Leverkusen. Long-winded answer, but this is why I feel like having that pace of Gusto is good, because it just causes more confusion. It stretches. We saw how often his runs dragged runners out wide. His run even created the moment for Cole Palmer to score against PSG. So I think Gusto's pace will definitely be needed. And the benefit is, when it comes to defending up against Diaz and defending against Olise, we can go 2v1 against him out wide when we have to. And yeah, I feel very content with the fullbacks we have at this football club. And the attack obviously kind of speaks for itself right now. I think experience is key. You have Pedro Neto, who not only helps out defensively doing a shift, did a great job against Hakimi in the Club World Cup final. But if the game becomes transitional at points, which I expect, he has the pace over distances and most importantly, the ability to play the first time cross. I think when the game's more open like this, it kind of nullifies and simplifies and makes this game more effective. And I think he could have a lot of joy actually playing in Europe compared to playing against all these like typical rest defenses in the Premier League. The two star guys that can control our destiny in this game, Cole Palmer and Joao Pedro. I'm expecting big things from them. I think Joao Pedro will be great for us. Not only does he have the strength to hold challenges and bring others into the game, it's the guy's movement, it's the guy's ability to drop deep. It'll make it hard for Bayern defenders to know who to pick up at exact times. And if the game plan is going to be to overload sides, to create that numerical superiority down one side to free up the other flank, having a Joao Pedro who's that linchpin that makes that possibility come to life, I think is the perfect player to turn towards. Him with a Cole Palmer who has a bit of license, maybe start wide, but come inside, run inside and showcase his impressive 1v1 carrying skills. When he's in the middle, sometimes receiving between the lines, you don't see it as much, but when he's allowed that license to drift to the right inside, have a bit more freedom to go on the outside, come inside, you see this guy's game come to life even more. They're going to be absolutely key for us, especially with the connection that they've formed already. Whatever we do in this game, Joao Pedro, Cole Palmer, Reece James, Caicedo, I have to say Robert Sanchez, they're going to be key to determining the result we get. Now for the second half lineup. Obviously, it's hard to predict this exactly, but I'm assuming that if things go in our favor, these are the subs I see coming on. I think Enzo will get replaced by Andre Santos eventually. Obviously, need more muscle, need more legs. I also see us using Garnacho and Esteval. I think Maresca will want to control things in the first half. It's your first CL game. You don't want to just like open your legs and go a bit too crazy and bad. But we have options and solutions off the bench to turn the game around at any point we need to. And I think if you have an Esteval and Garnacho, guys that can kind of go to the byline, come inside, that have the legs over distances, they could really punish a tiring Bayern Munich fullbacks. That is what I'm expecting, and that's what I would like to see. I think Bo Norte could potentially be an option that comes on as well too at some time. But I also thought about Wesley Fofana. But I guess my issue is that Fofana still is quite rusty. He'll need at least another month, in my opinion, to get back to a high level. Ideally, his pace, if he was ready in a game like this, allows you to have maybe more confidence deploying your high line. But I just can't feel that confidence at the moment right now. He needs a bit of time. So there you guys have it. First half lineup, second half lineup. Share your thoughts and opinions below on how you're feeling. Right now, my friends, for my prediction, I'm going to be going for a 2-1 win for Chelsea. I think that we have something in us to get the result. I see Joao Pedro scoring and I see Cole Palmer getting his first Champions League goal for Chelsea. And I think we're going to surprise people, and I think we'll play a pretty impressive game. So you guys, leave your predictions below right now. Leave your scorelines. Where do you see the game being won or lost? I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys are pumped. And I will catch you guys tomorrow on match day. Love.